And I'll now enter the second half of the talk. And this is basically how to make your event visually better. You may be an event company, you may be somebody running your own event, or just interested to sort of learn a bit more. So we'll go back into the screen share. Okay. So as we've discussed, I've been photographing high-profile events now for 15 years. And there are often things I think could really be improved photographically and visually. And so to help me give my clients, and some of you are watching, hello, you know, the maximum creative potential, here are some thoughts that I've got on how somebody running an event could improve it visually. Okay, so number one, light your audience. So this is the ICC in Birmingham. Some of you may have been here, and this is the same room. This is the CEO presenting. What I love about this picture, obviously she's looking great, you know, got the graphics saying who she is, and look at all those beautiful lights. But most importantly, my point of this one is everybody's lit, so you can see everybody's engaged with her. If I go to the next slide, same room, different time of day. Now it's not too bad a picture, it's absolutely fine, but what's a shame is you can see that the audience isn't lit. And so say they were laughing, clapping, you don't get their reaction. And though, yes, you can edit stuff stacking to a certain extent, if the contrast is too great, it will just look a little bit murky and mucky. And so it's not hard. I mean, most decent venues, and I appreciate the smaller hotels won't have these facilities, but if you are at any of these bigger venues, lighting your audience, and I don't mean at the same brightness, just a bit, will just give you that opportunity to make it look stronger. My next point, speakers. Okay, so we've all seen a few speakers in our time, and there's two types, as photographers will notice. There's one that stays on the lit plinth, and the other one that kind of paces up and down. And the paces are much harder to capture. It's fine, I can do it, we can do it. You know, there is that continual movement. But what can happen is sometimes those pacers, they walk out of the lit area. And once they're out of the lit area, it doesn't look very good. You know, you've spent all this time and money, beautiful stage, beautiful lighting, setup, and they basically walked out of the area. And if they keep moving as well, if they never pause, you know, it does take a little bit longer to get those shots. So it wouldn't take a second to just say to the speaker, right, here's the stage, here's where it's lit. You'll feel free, if you do prefer to walk around, feel free to walk around and possibly just pause occasionally looking at the audience to help them engage with you. I mean, how long? That took me 10 seconds to say. And I think those tiny bits of advice not only will help the photographers, but if you've got any videographers filming as well, they will thank you for that as well. It will really help, you know, when you go to promote your event afterwards, you look at the pictures and videos, go, oh, they look good, wonder why. Just a bit of forethought. So what it is. Right. Oh, these pink LED purple lights. They're fine and they look quite fun. And I've seen a bit of a trend for them over the last few years. But if they go on people's faces, it can look a bit weird. It does take a lot of editing and faffing to try and get the skin tone back. And it's just one of those colors that cameras aren't super fond of. Actually, if you look at this guy here and on the screen there, I mean, it shows to a certain degree, it can look really odd. So absolutely fine, use them. Loads of people have bought them, absolutely fine. But my advice would be don't have them on skin tone, okay? Right, next one. So if possible, avoid overhead spotlights. I appreciate that when you are in hotels, it's really hard to do this. But at bigger venues, it should be much easier. So this guy, very good talk, very nice person, but look, he's stuck under one of those horrible circle lights. It just doesn't look good. You get massive shadows under your chin and here, and it's not great. So when you're setting up the stage, just think to myself, oh, is there a horrible spotlight above that person's head? Yes. Well, perhaps in that case, I'll move them across a little bit. Or if you're lucky enough to have an AV crew with you, just throw in some sort of basic lighting. It wouldn't take much for that to have been a better moment. I couldn't move that guy because he was speaking, I was, but you know, here we are. So we've all been to the odd gala dinner, right? The odd awards evening, and some of them fantastic, and others aren't lit quite so well. This is an example of one which I thought was lovely. It's the Royal Horse Guards in London, which a few of you I'm sure have been to. And lighting is the key. Try and light as many things as possible, like the people, like the pillars, like the guests, like the tables, have fairy lights. If there's a stage, like the stage, like the ceiling. It doesn't, you know, that doesn't have to be kind of a disco vibe. Sometimes you have really sort of slow motion ones, and it's amazing what dramatic shots you can get when people light every crevice of a room. And if it is a larger venue and you have got the opportunity, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that should affect your cost. So just those little things, just, you know, gives us photographers more creative opportunity. And even somebody just stood there with a phone, it will look better if it's better lit. Okay, outside. There's a little example of an outside event. It was just coming into dusk. They've got a few little fun lights there in the background. You can't quite see, but they were kind of barbecues and fire pits and things. If you're outside, just think as many light sources as possible. Fairy lights, torches, candles, all add to that kind of visual atmosphere of the event. You know, they could have maybe had like a, you know what I mean, like a Batman beam, maybe blowing the logo that could have been swooshing around. There's loads of ways that you could get an outdoor event and just make it look wonderful. And if you can get lots of little lights, us photographers can give you bokeh. And if you don't know what bokeh is, it's when you get, imagine a picture, maybe imagine I'm taking a picture of a Christmas tree, here we go. Look here on the left, see these lovely little circles here? This is bokeh. And when you've got a nice posh lens like me, it looks stunning. So if you want us to give you beautiful shots, give us beautiful lighting and we will make that happen for you. Okay, branding. Now, the amount of events I go to that aren't properly branded just stuns me. If you brand it properly, you'll get better pictures, better for your client, better for you as the organizer, and then you get loads of creative opportunities. So this picture here, obviously he's got his branded top, fantastic, just shows the context of the event. Branded clothing, branded signage, giveaways, the outside of the building. I've seen it done on the steps. If you put it in as many different places as possible, then us photographers have plenty of creative opportunities to sort of show you how great that event looks. And then it's really handy then for the client to be able to use that imagery, because it's then clear it's their event, not an event. So I would highly recommend doing that. It's so often that you literally see a logo on a corner of a screen, and I'm just like, oh no, like you look around thinking there's got to be a logo somewhere, and there's no logo. So remember that branding is really, really important. So, okay, in summary, I hope that you've got to know me a bit better. You've picked up some hints and tips along the way. Thank you for listening. If anybody would like the notes, probably from the latter section might be helpful for some people, let me know. I'll just send you a PDF, that's fine.